Hello there, and welcome to another one of our videos where we teach you how to improve your profile. That way, you can land an amazing job in the legal profession. So, today's topic centers around how to build a reference network. That way, you can get references that you can send to recruiters or potential employers, and hopefully, that will make you successful in gaining that job that you've been looking for. So, a few weeks ago, we had a poll where we asked the Samson students to basically tell us what exactly would you like to see in our next reel or next video. And one request that came up was around how to get a reference. Now, this seems like a simple question at the surface, but there's actually a lot to unpack, and we're going to be doing that in this video. Firstly, most law students or just students in general only think about getting references when they need them. That is, after they've applied for a job and they've been told you need to send us at least one or two references, and then they start scrambling and thinking about people that they worked with, people that they know, or just prominent people that they can ask for a reference from. This is the wrong approach, and we're going to be touching on what exactly would work best, especially if you're still a first year, still a second year, or maybe even a fourth year. What exactly could you try to do in order to make sure that by the time you need the reference, you actually have a good network of people you can ask from, and that the reference they give you is a quality reference? So we're going to be doing this in a three-part solution, and the first part will be how to build the network of people that can give you references. The second part is going to be around how to appropriately ask for a reference from those people that you've now incorporated into your network. Then the last part is going to be around how to make sure that you maintain accurate relationships and long lasting relationships with the people that you've incorporated into your network, and how perhaps you can even keep them updated on your progress, inspire them to keep believing in you, and maybe get them to also recommend more opportunities to you in the future. So let's start with the first part of the solution, which is building your network of references. Let's assume you have no references at all, actually. And the first part of this would be you finding projects, initiatives, or assignments that can actually highlight what you're capable of doing. And once you find those projects, you're going to have to establish who exactly coordinates those projects, or who is the lead evaluator or assessor of people that participate in those. Now, also another approach is if you're just looking for reference from lecturers or people that are in a certain way contracted or have a role where they have to interact with you. Those people, it's slightly different because there's already an established system in which they will assess you and will evaluate you, but you still need to figure out how you're going to impress them. So you've established what projects you're going to be part of. You've established who's the lead evaluator. The next thing is to make sure that within that project, once you've signed up and you've accepted, or once you are part of it because it's just part of your ordinary curriculum, you end up showing up and contributing effectively. This means standing out, making sure that you go above and beyond what is expected, making sure that you record each and every milestone or each and every contribution you make, making sure that you engage with those people throughout the course of that project or assignment or whatever it is. That way, they can actually notice your face, they can actually give you some guidance along the way, and maybe it actually counts for something when you eventually need a reference. The key thing to focus on here is being a key contributor, which means you're reliable, you're punctual, you give it 110%, no matter what it is that it would be. Sometimes it could be a debate, or a moot court contest, or a class assignment. Sometimes it can be a special project that's been created by your faculty or by any other institution that you're a part of. But the idea here is to identify what is it exactly that this organization or this assignment or this project is trying to establish, and how can I make sure that I'm a standout, a key contributor within that whole system. As I said, you're going to need to track your contributions, and this is going to become important later when I explain how to use the references. But that's the first part of the whole solution. Make sure that you identify the right projects, the right people that you're going to eventually ask for references from, and that you actually contribute effectively within that whole project, endeavor, whatever it may be. So the second part is how you ask for the reference. There's obviously going to be no-nos, which are the bad ways to ask for the reference. And then there's going to be good ways to ask for the reference. But within the good way, there's also a strategic and more very thorough way of doing it. If you're doing it the right way, not only are you going to have a formal email setting out who you are, which project you were involved in, and what opportunities you're currently looking for and therefore need a reference for, but you're also going to help the person that you need a reference from give you that reference with the easiest effort ever or the lightest effort ever. Right? This simply means instead of you just hitting up the professor or whoever you need a reference from with a broad request, you actually give them all the necessary information that they need to give you the reference as quickly as possible. First things first, make sure you give them enough time. This means you cannot ask them for a reference 2 days before you need to submit it to the recruiter or the law firm that you need employment from. You have to give them at least a week, 2 weeks, if you actually can. And that way they can actually give you accurate feedback. They can actually reflect on what you did and make sure that they give you their best recommendation ever. Right? Second thing is you're going to need to give them the reference, which means you're going to need to draft the reference, give it to them in a Word document. It includes all the details. Remember that we said you need to track all those details. So that's when you input all of that information into the document. It's up to whoever's giving you the reference to decide, are they deleting certain things? Are they adding certain things? Are they modifying how you've described certain things? And essentially, they'll be the one that decide what the final version of that reference should look like. You should also attach your CV within that request. That way they can see how your profile looks holistically. That way they can have the confidence of, okay, I'm not just suggesting somebody who did well in one project. I can see that their CV also complements the role that they want. It would also be a good idea to include your transcript there. I mean, obviously, sometimes you might not be so proud about the marks that you've gotten, but it also helps them because perhaps they might actually feel like, okay, your reference or the template that you gave me is good, but it doesn't highlight some of the strengths that you have, especially given your weak marks. So you're actually trying to make sure that this person understands you holistically and gives you feedback and gives you the reference that will enable you to stand out within the broader pool of people that have submitted applications to the recruiters. Another smart thing you can do is also ask them for LinkedIn endorsements. Obviously, LinkedIn is a public platform and a lot of recruiters might actually engage with your profile there. So it wouldn't hurt to basically pick out the skills that you think the project was able to instill on you and essentially ask for whoever is coordinating to go on LinkedIn and provide their endorsement as well. That way it's visible. It's not just you sitting with a few letters or a few reference documents that nobody will get to see, but even your LinkedIn reflects what exactly you're capable of and who's confident that you can deliver. Great. So now you have your reference network, you've also engaged in all these projects, and you have the actual letters or documents that testify to how good you are. But how do you exactly incorporate those into your applications? So there's two considerations here. If you've already been told that you need to submit a reference, then it's actually a straightforward process. You just include the reference documents or letters within your application. But if it's a vague application or it's not really clear what you should do, you should look out for within the portal that I'm using to apply. Is there space for submitting an actual letter or an additional document in addition to my CV? If there is that space, you submit it, no worries. If that space doesn't exist, then our advice or my advice would be that you actually do not submit the letter. Instead, your CV should mention that the reference is ready for submission upon request. That way, if the recruiter is looking at your profile, they can look at your CV and see, okay, you got these projects lined up here, you got these skills that you say you've acquired. Great. And there's also this person who can attest to the fact that you participated and the fact that you were a key contributor. So, what we'll do is we'll try to contact this person. If your CV clearly states that the reference is available on request, then the recruiter might just decide, let me actually start with the applicant themselves. ask them for the reference, see what's written there, see if it's been signed, see if it comes from the person that they state is recommending them. So the idea here is just make sure that you understand the protocol that the firm has put in place, or the recruiter if it's not a law firm, and you follow it as thoroughly as possible. That way you also don't frustrate these systems. If they're expecting one document from you, you submit one document. Then the final thing, after you've submitted your application, you now have the references, you're hopeful that you'll get a positive response from the recruiters, is to still make sure that you maintain good relationships and contact with the people that have given you references. The idea here is that you're not making this a once-off exercise where you get involved in certain projects, you work with people, you impress them, and then you move on. And this is important because it's a mistake that I've made in certain instances where certain people who vouched for me previously do not know where I am in life. They don't understand what it is that I'm currently involved with. And that's only because I've failed to maintain that relationship and always keep them informed about what exactly I'm doing. So this helps in a few ways. One of them is just that they can actually even recommend you for future opportunities. They'll be the ones that are looking out for, where can I fit this person that was once instrumental in this project that we were working on. Another one is just so that they can also pass on certain roles to you. If they saw that you did well in a certain project and they don't want to do it anymore, as in they do not want to coordinate it or be an evaluator in it, as somebody who they've really been impressed by, they can even pass it on to you and say, okay, we want this person to be the next evaluator or lead project manager or anything else. So the idea here is that you don't just treat these as, I need a job now, so I need a reference now. You treat these people as part of your core network, part of the people that are going to be instrumental in your success and progress in the legal industry. So that's it from us on our three-part solution on how to build good reference networks. We hope this is helpful to you, and please stay tuned for more tips and videos on just how you can improve your profile and how you can impress recruiters and land that job that you've been looking for.